Your SD comes packed in two boxes, one for the detector and one for the 18-inch mono-loop coil. Slide the armrest unit onto the end of the upper shaft with two holes. Ensure the upper shaft goes through the hole in the armrest cover flap. Align the two holes in the armrest. The power on panel should face the rear. Slide the two black nylon bolts through the holes and screw the nylon wing nuts onto the bolts. Place the handle on the other end of the upper shaft and set to a comfortable position. Tighten the two screws with a small flat-tip screwdriver. Slide the shoulder strap clip onto the intermediate shaft. Then slide the intermediate shaft into the end of the upper shaft and snap it into place. Ensure that the 8-inch coil has a skid plate attached. Push the end of the fiberglass tube with the rubber washers attached onto the coil mounting bracket, ensuring that the spring clip on the other end of the fiberglass tube faces the rear of the coil. Line up the holes in the coil mounting bracket and the fiberglass tube. Insert a nylon bolt and then fasten with a nylon wing nut. There is one fiberglass tube for each coil supplied, enabling quick coil changeovers. The 18-inch fiberglass tube is supplied with round and teardrop washers. Select the coil you wish to search with and slide the tube into the intermediate shaft. Adjust the shaft length and coil angle for a comfortable position. Then wind the coil cable tightly around the shaft. Plug the coil connector into the coil socket on the control box. To prevent any movement, ensure that the cable is firmly attached to the shaft using the two Velcro straps. Depending on user preference, feed the power cable through the right or left hole in the bottom of the backpack's lower pouch and fit the rechargeable 6-volt gel cell battery into the lower pouch. Position the barrier between the battery and the termination box. Plug the headphone set supplied into the socket on the termination box, ensuring the cable is positioned through the power cable hole. With the battery pack harness on, check that the control box on-off switch is set to the off position. Plug the cable from the battery harness into the power connector on the control box. Secure the cable into the clip on the rear panel's fascia. To help bear the SD's weight when prospecting, the shoulder strap should be fastened to the clip on the shaft. Your SD is now ready to start up. First, switch the detector on at the rear panel. Always turn the unit off before changing batteries, coils, and when not in use. Next, adjust the threshold control to set the level of background tone so that it can be just heard. Next, adjust the level of the threshold tone and set the tone to the individual's hearing using the tone controls. Hearing impaired operators are advised to tune the threshold pitch slightly louder than normal. Longer fluctuations of volume and pitch in the threshold tone signifies ground noise, whilst sharper variations indicate target signal noise. A small change in pitch usually indicates a small target or a large deep target. And a significant change in pitch typically means the detection of a larger target closer to the surface. Using a screwdriver, now adjust the variable frequency control to minimize electromagnetic interference. Turn the 10-turn control a half turn per second until the threshold becomes even. If no noticeable change occurs whilst turning in one direction, adjust it in the other. The variations in threshold can be reduced to a very low level by accurately adjusting the balance controls on the front panel. This procedure, known as ground balancing, is vital for successful detecting. It should be carried out before each search and when ground noise becomes unacceptable whilst searching. The balance controls on the panel allow the SD to be adjusted to suit varying ground mineralization levels. If the effects of ground mineralization are not balanced out, signals from metal targets will be very hard to distinguish due to excessive background noise. With the threshold and tone correctly tuned, set the search switch to the balance 1 position. Move the coil up and down between 1 to 15 centimetres above the ground. If the detector is not ground balanced, the volume and the pitch of the threshold will audibly change. Adjust the balance 1 control so that no variation in volume or pitch is heard when you lift the coil. When the balance 1 position is ground balanced, set the mode switch to balance 2 and adjust the balance 2 control, repeating the balancing procedure. When the detector is balanced in both positions, set to the search position and you can commence prospecting. While ground conditions will change, under most circumstances, ground balancing need only be adjusted occasionally. In rare instances of extreme mineralisation, the balance will require more frequent adjustment. Occasionally, soil types with a low mineral content will not interfere with the detector, making ground balancing the SD unnecessary. If raising and lowering the coil causes no audible response, then the mineral content in the ground is too low to have an effect on the SD. When working in areas of high salt concentration or extreme mineralisation, it's advantageous to detect only in the ground balance 1 position to provide better results. Some smaller targets, however, may be missed. The SD is supplied with 2 search coils to suit differing ground and target conditions. The 18-inch mono-loop is the coil that will provide the maximum detection depth for most searching, detecting nuggets of 1 gram or more. The 8-inch mono-loop coil is suited for pinpointing smaller nuggets down to 0.1 of a gram in size, performing well in all salty conditions, and where mineralisation changes dramatically. An optional 11-inch coil is also available, which serves as a useful addition to the SD kit. Also supplied are 2 kinds of battery chargers, a mains unit and a vehicle battery charger. The 6-volt gel battery supplied with your SD when fully charged will give approximately 12 hours operating time. Do not use the SD when the battery low light on the rear panel lights up, as the unit's performance then becomes erratic. Remember, only use genuine Minelab gel cell 6-volt batteries to power your SD, and never use a 12-volt battery. Before disconnecting the battery to charge it, turn the SD off. The battery cable can then be disconnected from the detector and plugged into an appropriate charger. Once the battery lead is plugged into the mains power charger and connected to a mains outlet, the battery should be charged for approximately 10 hours. Remember, your gel cell battery need not be fully discharged before recharging and will not develop a memory. It's advisable to recharge your battery at the end of each day's use and always store your battery fully charged. The vehicle battery charger supplied will charge the 6-volt battery from the lighter socket of your car. Connect the battery lead to the charger, plug the charger into the dash socket, set to accessories, and leave the gel cell to charge for approximately 10 hours. As the battery is charging, a red light will flash indicating the car charger is operating. This slows as the battery becomes fully charged. The charger is designed to cut out should your vehicle's battery drop below 11 volts, thus preventing your battery being flattened by the charger. Ensure that your vehicle is run daily and your battery is in good condition. The SD is by far the most superior gold detector on the market. But to get the best performance, some basic and easily learnt techniques do need to be followed. When detecting, the coil itself should be kept on the ground and swept in a side-to-side sweeping motion, coupled with a slow forward motion. You should try to overlap each sweep so as to not miss any targets. Due to the sensitivity of these coils, ensure that the coil is kept at a distance from the operator so as to not pick up any unwanted interference from metallic objects, such as picks, boots, etc. When using the 8-inch coil, it's advisable to also search from 3 directions so as to ensure a full coverage of the area. A single sweep with the 18-inch coil, however, will cover the ground thoroughly enough. Since users sometimes have a tendency to lift the coil at the end of each sweep, aim to always keep the coil on the ground when sweeping to prevent the loss of detection depth. As you sweep, listen for even the faintest signals, as these may be a deep or small target. To pinpoint the actual target location, listen for the strongest signal as you sweep. By decreasing the length of the sweep, you can draw an imaginary line in the ground where the strongest signal is located. Then turn 90 degrees and sweep along the line just drawn until you detect the target once more. Again, take note of the point where the strongest signal is and draw another imaginary line in the ground. Where the two lines meet is where the target is located. When pinpointing with the 18-inch coil, use it on its edge for optimum effect. If you're not sure whether the sound is ground noise or a target, scrape the surface with your boot over the suspected target and then sweep the coil over the area. If the signal decreases in volume, it is ground noise. If the signal remains or increases, it's a target. In some cases, a buried metallic object over a length of time will change the surrounding soil, making the object appear larger to your SD. This halo effect will enable your SD to detect targets at greater depth. Having cleared the surface material, check for the signal in the hole again. If it is gone, the target will be in the removed surface material. If the signal is still there, dig carefully for a few more inches. The signal should now become louder as the hole becomes deeper, so continue to dig. Always dig carefully around the target to avoid target damage. Turn the detector coil onto its edge, making it vertical, and probe the hole for the loudest reading. If the signal is not present, check the soil removed. To locate a target in this soil, you can spread the soil out and scan the pile carefully, or lay the coil on its side and pass a handful of soil past the coil till a signal is heard. Remember to ensure all hand jewellery is removed. Once you have recovered a target, sweep the hole again to make sure there are no remaining targets. Also, carefully search the surrounding area, remembering to fill in all holes that you have dug. It is essential whilst detecting to carry with you at least one of the following digging tools shown here. In order to preserve the environment, it's essential target holes are kept as small as possible. A major problem facing detector operators is not getting access to areas because others before them have been careless in the recovery of targets. So please, as a responsible operator, backfill all diggings and cover your tracks. Remember, it takes little effort and no time at all to backfill your holes. To increase your chances of success, take your time when detecting. Dig any target signals, no matter how faint, and read up on the areas you have chosen to detect in. Remember, research can contribute up to 70% of your success. The rest is hard work and persistence. Familiarise yourself with regional variations, soil types, and the types of areas where precious metal deposits are likely to be found, both on work diggings and virgin ground. The SD is the most advanced gold detector on the market. So go where gold has already been found and rework these areas thoroughly. Areas commonly detected on goldfields include deep lead heaps, shallow diggings, dry blow heaps, surfaced areas, virgin ground, and creek beds. Shallow diggings usually look like a moonscape. The holes can be up to 8 feet deep, often in close proximity. Detect virtually everywhere, including the immediate area leading away from the diggings. Deep leads generally have large mounds of diggings, known as mullock heaps, surrounding a shaft hole. White pipe clay on these heaps will indicate a deep shaft was worked. Use extreme caution around deep lead areas and never detect inside mullock heaps in these areas, as false bottoms can collapse into the original shaft. Dry blow heaps were used when water wasn't available to process diggings. Check the dry blow heap and the surrounding area. Gold in these heaps was often missed due to the nuggets being coated with various minerals, such as ironstone. Surfacing was done in shallow areas, usually from several inches in depth up to 2 feet. The area is usually removed to bedrock. Detect the surfaced area, checking the bedrock base for false bottoms and hidden pockets of soil that can conceal gold deposits. Virgin ground is ground that has not yet been prospected, where you may be fortunate to find a nugget. If you do find such an area, then search the area thoroughly, as you may be able to trace gold deposits back to the original concentrated source deposit. When detecting in creek beds, look for ridges of rock that act as natural traps for gold deposits. Anywhere the water has slowed and stopped, are areas where deposits can also be found. Remember, for the optimum results with your SD, go slow and low and use your skid plate to take the knocks. Read as many books and publications on prospecting as you can. A large number of prospecting maps are available at your local prospecting shop and outline the major gold-producing areas. Just as local museums and libraries are invaluable for research on past gold finds, you can similarly make use of the State Title Register. Get this list from your Land Department offices. Country Fire Authority manuals also provide valuable local information to complement your research. Your Mines and Energy Department will have detailed maps and information regarding local alluvial gold deposits. As a prospecting licence is often required at a minimal fee, it is advisable to check for the right of local tenancies and mining claims. When heading out on a field trip, don't forget basic common sense. When prospecting, always have with you a basic safety kit containing a small first aid kit, sunscreen, a mirror, insect repellent, matches, a torch and a small toolkit. A GPS system also allows you to pinpoint your position anywhere in the world and is an invaluable investment for any prospector. Ensure you dress to keep comfortable. Wear light, strong clothing, high-sided boots and a hat. In winter, always carry wet weather gear and protection for your detector. When in remote areas, always carry spare water, food and vehicle parts in case of breakdown. Just as you prepare for each field trip, you should likewise be prepared for all eventualities. Remember, safety is vital. When seeking permission to detect on properties, also ask the landowner for any advice on local conditions, informing them when and where you are going. Get to know your machine. The more time you spend working with your detector, the better your results will be. Major points to remember are: do your research and get local advice wherever possible. Go where gold has been found before. Look for traces of previous prospectors. Make sure the SD is correctly ground balanced before beginning to detect. Ensure no metallic objects, such as picks and jewellery, cause interference. Your skid plate will protect the coil, so scrape it on the ground and detect in a low and slow motion. Dig all signals. Backfill all holes. And remember the importance of safety and preparation. Look after your SD and you will enjoy many years of productive use from your detector. With the SD's stable and effective ground balancing, superior depth capability and sensitivity, you can be confident you have the best detector available on the market today. For any detecting advice or service inquiries, please contact your nearest Minelab dealer. For more information on Minelab products, free call 1-800 637 786.